ninjas, what is going on this? What is it today? We know what day it is. Pump Monday. Gotta get pumped, man. Boy, am I pumped. I'm excited. The season's underway, and phone's been blowing off the hook. I'm texting people. People are calling. I'm calling people. Some are emailing. I'm writing everything down on my list and my notepad here. It's just so much stuff. So far, I've got about 25 that are down for mowing. Aerations, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, possibly 8. Gutters, I got 2. Mulch, I got 1 already lined up. Topsoil, I gotta call the guy back, so that might come through, I don't know yet. And then the leveling sand job, I sent out the quote, and he wrote me back and said to, he didn't deny it, of course, so he said, hey, let's touch base. I got your email and got a couple of questions, I guess, so I have a feeling that one's gonna go ahead and come through. Anyway, I am really starting to, it's hectic, it's overwhelming, but I'm excited too, because it's you know, I'm ready to get going, so this is awesome. But this time of the year, it's always like this, ninjas. It's always, you know, around, for me at least, around let's see, March, April is when I am really going crazy, because everybody's trying to get in on the schedule. You know, you'll have jobs pop up like this on the side that are just really going to push you back. And the challenge for me going to be is this month, because Busy Bee is still in school. As you can see, I'm alone. He's got this class that he took this winter, which I'm glad he did it this winter, because it would have been really complicated if he did it this summer. And what it is it's like an English class that is it's requiring him to have to be there every day. Unlike last summer, he was only taking classes Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then he'd meet me afterwards. But he's finishing up with this class through March, and then we're gonna get back on track where he'll just be in school Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So it's going to be a little bit challenging. It's going to be really hectic, but I think I can manage it without bringing anybody else just yet on board. I really want to, but at the same time, with all the stuff still that's going around with COVID and everything, I'm really hesitant quite just yet, okay? At the same time, if I do hire somebody else, it's going to kind of mess up Busy Bee, because, you know, he's gonna be like, okay, I can meet you after school, but at that point I got another guy, and you know, he might be able to meet us somewhere in a couple hours, and then I'll have to drive him back to his truck wherever he meets us. So it can create a little bit of a challenge there too. But you know, Busy Bee has been really loyal to me. He's been a really good help, and just a really good person. So I'm not gonna do that to him. I am gonna go ahead and ride it out, and we'll just do what we can, and then you know, hopefully we'll get back on track starting in April. But in the meantime, ninjas, things are kicking off. Everything is great, and I just pulled up at the next yard. I'll go ahead and show you some footage. I was at the dealership earlier today, because Tiny, see, it's always like this, ninjas. When season starts, everything's fine all winter, you know, and then when the season starts, something pops up, and it's the worst timing, right? But when is it a good timing? So, you know, it is what it is, but we'll get into that. And I'm gonna share something with you that I have learned to never do again. Let's go slice and dice some yards. How about that? All right, and that's a wrap. This yard is nothing but weeds, but at least it's cleaned up nicely, got a nice little edge going on, and it's just now starting to come in. But there was a lot of leaves, I guess, left over from fall. There's in this driveway down here. They have a garage up here and down there. There was a lot of, and that garage is open down there, but luckily there was no car or anything, so I was able to go in and blow everything out. But well, let me, this is a dead end down here, so let me go ahead and stop down here and then we'll chit chat of what's going on. So here's a little shot of the setup for this season, I guess, at least what I'm starting with. Got my 3 different sizes, the 36, 52, and 61. And yeah, this is my my little setup right here. So the other night, what's been going on is we were driving. It was actually on the way back from that, in the last video, from the little porch job that we did there right towards the end of the day Saturday. And there was no weight on the trailer or nothing. You saw it was just a couple of boards, and Tiny started grinding really, really bad. And it's like perfect timing, right? I mean, it's always right when the season starts. All winter, no problems, nothing, and then right when the season starts, Tiny's asking for something. And then I got to looking down here, and I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but there's a pretty decent lip on the rotors. I think the rotors will be okay for one more round of pads, but pretty sure next time I do front pads, I'm gonna have to change the rotors. I don't really see any, like, you know, heavy gashes or anything in it. But basically the pads are shot. Now, a lot of you ninjas who've been watching and following and paying attention, I've changed these pads probably 3-4 times last year. Now, I know some of the issue has been because I didn't have a breaker controller box for my trailers. I finally got one installed, but found out that my utility trailer is still giving me some trouble. So there's a wire that's touching the ground somewhere or something. I don't know. Haven't had a chance to go back and check it out. But the dump trailer works fine. So I've made progress there. But at the same time, one other thing I have learned is I've been going to like AutoZone and Advance and buying these off-brand, off-market rotors and pads. And Ninjas, in my experience, I'm just going back with the factory. So I went back with the factory pads in the rear, and they were just recently changed, so that's fine. And on the front ones here, I just went ahead and picked up brand new pads for specifically made for Tiny. They're going to be a little bit more pricier, you know how the dealerships are, but I think I'd rather do that, pay a little extra, and not have to do it 3 times a year. That's kind of insane, right? I shouldn't have to do it 3 times a year. And I already asked them how much for the rotors, and they said for both of them it would probably be, I think he told me like $405 just for the rotors. The pads itself were about $100, which same thing went for the back ones. They were about $100. So, you know, it's like, when is it a good timing? It's never really a good timing, but you know what? It is what it is. This is just part of running a business. Things will happen when you least expect it. Another issue I have encountered, I haven't really looked too much into it, but I don't really use this 36 too much. Just for some of those couple of yards that I have that are small gates and saves on the weed eating. But both of these front wheels were actually locked up and they wouldn't turn. I'm not really sure why. Like I said, with minimum usage, I mean, this thing doesn't even have 50 hours on it. And I was able to break them loose a little bit by kicking them around left to right, and I was able to kind of get them to turn, but they're still, it's like a grinding thing on both of them, not just one. So they're okay now. I guess I could really use it if I needed it, but I need to get that checked out. See what I'm saying? It's just, you never know when something can start or can happen the last minute. So anyway, but yeah, that is it. And Busy Bee is in school. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it today.
to meet me, and if he does, then all I have is basically to work on those brakes. And if he doesn't make it today, then tomorrow after school, I'm gonna knock out a few yards in the morning, and then we'll just change those brakes. But yeah, that's crazy, man. Always some. So anyway, lesson learned here is just pay the extra buck or two, whatever it is, and go to the manufacturer that is designing specifically parts for your truck. I went, you know, and I think what got me is a couple people were saying, you know, the rotors or the pads are a lifetime warranty. Yeah, you know, it's a hassle. I don't really care about the lifetime warranty on this. It's a freaking hassle. The fact that I have to constantly change these pads 3 times a year, it's not worth saving. I'm not really saving. You know, you save a couple bucks on the pads, but you're going to use up that couple of bucks that you saved with the time and gas and going to pick up more pads. And even then, I've noticed the last time that I changed pads, I think it was Advance Auto, they kind of gave me a little bit of a headache, just because they were like, man, you're going through some pads. And I'm like, well, guys, I'm just using this truck. You know, this is a heavy duty truck. I'm constantly towing. It's not my fault. You know, I'm not doing anything crazy. So they were kind of hesitant there. I could tell they didn't want to replace it again, but they had no choice. They had to. I just don't want to go back to that. So I think I'm going to stick with the factory. And my advice to you ninjas would be do the same. I don't care if you have a Ford, Chevy, Dodge, just go back to the factory, especially when it comes to like brakes and stuff, because they know your truck best, and it's not the same. It's not the same. Now look, some of you might argue this and say, you know, I bought pads at AutoZone or Advance and they've lasted me. I don't know, but this is my experience and I've had bad luck with it.
There it is one more time. Looking clean, looking clean. So this customer is a card on file. And a lot of you ninjas who've been watching me for a while, you know I'm all about card on file. It's makes it simple for the customer, simple for you. Don't chase your money. I don't chase my money. I chased my money the first couple of years until I learned, and after that I said never again. So lessons learned there too, not just with the brakes, but also with the money and customers. Just don't chase your money after you provide a service. So I use a card on file. For a lot of you who might be wondering what kind of services I use or which services I use, there's a couple of options up there or out there. I use Square. Square has worked really great for me for the last, gosh, I don't know, 7, 8 years, 9 years, something like that. And they, you know, they deposit the money instantly the following morning into your bank account. Unless, of course, it's a weekend, then they'll wait till Monday. Like if you charge cards Friday night, Friday evening, or Saturday, or Sunday. So a majority of my customers are cards on file. I still have a good amount that just pay by check, and then definitely quite a bit also who pay cash, which is perfectly fine with me as long as the money is there. I will not provide a service if money is not there. Don't get fooled like I did this last time in the last video. If you got a customer who's supposed to leave you money, just check and make sure the money's there. And you know, but ultimately try to always sign them up for it's a convenience thing too, you know. Now Square and a couple of others, I do also use Venmo. Some of you mentioned in the past Venmo is not a business thing. Maybe it wasn't, but they changed it because I got a letter in the mail from them stating that you know, my account specifically has changed to a business account. So I do offer that version of payment as well. Now some of them, most of them will charge a convenience fee. It's basically for the transaction to run the card. If you're wondering, should you be eating that or should the customer be eating that? The customer should be eating that, not you. It's different. If that's the only way I offer a payment, then of course I would go ahead and say that's on me. But you know, I offer other ways. You know, they can still pay cash, check, whatever. And if that's what they choose, because it is really a simplicity thing. It saves them a hassle and a headache, and you. But I make sure, I just always let your customers know ahead of time. Just, you know, for example, if it's like a $50 charge, you know, there may be like $2, $3 for the convenience fee or transaction fee, whatever you want to call it. 9 times out of 10, they're all good with it, honestly. It's just a couple of bucks, and it's worth the headache of writing a check or remembering to leave a check or remembering even to leave cash. Some of them just prefer that. So it doesn't really matter to me, and it's what's cool about it is Square will send you at the end of the year all of the charges that you made throughout the year, and they'll just send it to you and give you a total amount that you've earned. So that way it's kind of like a 1099 basically, and you know, turn it in when you do your taxes, and it just shows your income there. So it's pretty nice, pretty nice. So Square, I recommend Square, but I mean, if some of you are using something else and you've had good luck with it, then stick with it. But Square has really worked well. All right, I'm gonna see if I can check in with Busy Bee where he's at, if we get to do the brakes today, and if not, then I'm gonna go try to squeeze in another yard if I can, but I am gonna be losing daylight here soon as well, so I'm just gonna play it by ear, look at my list, and go from there. I've got quite a few scheduled tomorrow as well, and it's gonna be a busy week. Busy week without Busy Bee. I mean, he'll be here probably tomorrow and Wednesday because he gets out of school a little early, and then he'll be here at a weekend. So, all right, I hope you enjoyed. Just highlight of the video, I guess, will be lessons learned, you know. I learned my lesson not to chase money for something I've already provided a service. So that's why I do the card on file or payment at the time of service. And I've also learned my lesson now to stick with factory parts when it comes to your truck, man. I mean, I can only tell you from experience, and so far, you know, I'm not a fan of having to change brakes every 3 times a year, you know, every couple of months basically. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I hope you ninjas had a good day. Thank you for tuning in for another one. Stay tuned. There's so much more to come, and I'll give you an update about Karen as well, what's going on there, because it's an interesting one.
Saving green.
We'll see ya. Peace.
Saving green, be the team. Yeah.